Hey everyone, Connor here today at etrailer.com. We're going to be taking a look at the Titan alloy snow tire chains here for our 2017 Kia Sorento with tire size 235/65/17. So these chains here are going to be an excellent option for our Sorento. They're personally one of my favorite sets of snow tire chains. And there's a few reasons for this that we'll go into next. So one of the number one reasons why I just simply really like these tire chains is that the installation process is super easy. There's only a few connections to make. We have one at the back here, we have one at the front, and we have one that loops around here at the bottom. Now when we're outside in the cold, wet snow installing these, we want this to be processed as seamless as possible, as well as not be out there for too long. So with this easy, simple installation, we're going to be able to get back in our warm vehicle and back on the road. So if we take a look at the actual chain sections that rest on the tire, we're going to notice this has a diamond-shaped pattern. Now what you may be familiar with is a ladder style pattern, where it's just simply a horizontal chain across the face of the tire here. We have several in a row. And the main benefit we're going to get from these diamond style chains is we're going to have much more traction as well as a smoother ride when we compare it to the traditional ladder style. Now if we take a closer look of what this chain actually consists of, you're going to see several of these D-links here along the cross chains. Now these are going to do an excellent job of biting in to the snow and ice to give us the best traction possible, whether we're in cornering or trying to brake. So if we take a step back here and actually look out the outside of our tires here, there's a few different things going on. We're going to first notice this color-coded section on the outside here. Now this is going to serve a few different purposes. Number one, it's going to make us easily distinguish these from the chains here. That way when we're laying it on the ground, it's going to be much easier to get out all the tangles. Number two, this color-coded section is actually coated as well, so when we're handling the tire chains out in the cold, it's not going to be as harsh on our bare hands. And then last but not least, the coating is actually going to provide some protection for our wheels, so we're not getting any scratches. So now that we've gone over some of the features and benefits, let's jump right into installation and show you how easy these are to install yourself. So the first step of our installation here, we want to take one of our chains out of the bag here and lay it out in front of us. What we're going to do now is we're just going to untangle everything, making sure all the chains are in order, they're in the right place before we go to wrap them around the tire. We see here, we're actually going to have a middle section, which is sort of the split between the two chains. When we do push this around the back of the tire, we're going to want that to line up with about the center of the wheel. Now we also need to make a note that when we have these chains laid out, we do need to pay attention to which side is down. If we take a look at the outer perimeter here, we're going to see this hook section here. This hook section needs to be facing down towards the ground for this first step. Now the reason for that is when we go ahead and set these on the tire, we don't want these digging into the tire themselves. Instead, they'll be facing outward away from the tire. And the next step of our installation here, we're going to go ahead and wrap our chains around the tire. Again, just making a note of our center point here and aligning that with the center of our wheel. And since this is a front-wheel drive vehicle, we will be installing these chains on the front tires. So now that we have our chain wrapped around the back side of our tire here, we can go ahead and make our first connection. We're going to want to grab the cabled ends on the outside of each chain here. We're going to bring them around the top, back side of the tire, and make our first connection just like this, and pull to lock it in place. Once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and push this cabled section back towards the back of the tire, but we want to make sure we hold on to these sides here so we don't lose the whole chain down the back side of the tire. So right now we're essentially just centering the chains on the tires a little better. And now we can make our second connection here, also at the top of the tire, but on the outside face. We're going to want to grab the end of our yellow link here, as well as the green hook on the adjacent side. Now we want to try to get it as tight as possible So we may need to come back here and use one of these two chains, but for the initial setup, we're just going to use the end there. So now we're going to come down to the bottom here. We're going to take our silver chain with our black plastic leader handle. What we're going to do is come around to the other side of the tire here. You see we have this sort of red curved mechanism here. There's a slot in there that's actually going to line up. We're going to slide the silver part of the chain through that. Then we're going to pull back to tension. And now we're going to take this black handle here and we're going to loop it either through one or two of these hooks here. Now ideally we want to get them both, but not all applications allow for this. And it looks like it would be rather tight with the second one, so we're just going to go ahead and use this first one. We're going to take the hooked section of that and attach it top here to the yellow links. Just like that. So now, the final step would be to pull forward or back so we could let the chain sort of self-adjust on the tire, and we can make any adjustments as necessary to increase the tension. And once we have everything adjusted, that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the Titan alloy snow tire chains here for our 2017 Kia Sorento with tire size 235/65/17.